Okay, thank you for being here, everyone. Today's the 30th of July 2025, and tonight's Sacred Segments, we have a special focus on CE5. And I don't know if anyone or everyone knows what that means, but it's about contact with extraterrestrials using a particular mode of protocols, which I'm sure when our main guest arrives, who's called Greg Grantham, he's in America, he will speak to us about it. I hope he does arrive. I'm going to send him a message. But in the meantime, it's great to see you all. Thank you for coming this evening. And I'm going to go around the group, if that's okay, and ask for your intentions. It's something that I do on pretty much every Sacred Segments. While I'm just sending Greg a message, I'm going to think about my own intention as I'm doing that. And I'm just going to tune in for a second, and I'm just going to say to him, first of all, we have started. Okay, here we go. So my intention is for this session to be an uplifting experience for everyone, and to also establish a communication field with not only all of you, but between us and the extraterrestrials, in peace and in harmony for the good of all. That's my intention. I'm going to ask Joanna next.
Mine sort of rides on yours, actually. It's to communicate effectively and in a way that touches people.
Beautiful. Lovely. Okay.
Short and sweet.
You. And Gudrun.
My intention for this session is to gain a great understanding and a guidance of a deeper connection to the ET. I can't say the word, sorry. So for me to gain a deeper understanding and a deeper connection to the ET in peace and harmony, and guidance for the greater good to shift. You know, because we are in a time of a major shift, so that we catch the train, basically, you know, to even ask for help, basically, you know, to guidance.
We need help right now with the earthquake that's happened, 8.8, I believe. You know, we so need help, and the state of the planet and everything. Thank you. That was beautiful. Carl, your intention?
Yes, so my intention is to be open to learn and to receive inspiration and knowledge today, but also to increase my understanding of what it would mean to have contact, to start making contact, and to how to integrate and overcome any reluctance, barriers, anxieties that we might have because of the unknown and the uncertainty about a lot of it.
Well said, well said. Now, I think you've touched on a really important subject there, because there's definitely like an element of fear involved in the general consciousness of humanity when it comes to the unknown. I mean, you know, even just going in the sea, I get scared sometimes. I think, oh, you know, what's that? You know, was that a spiky thing that's going to hurt me? You know, is there a jellyfish that's going to sting me? You know, and like if we go out there, then you know we don't know, do we? We don't really know.
No, and we know there are some that are not benevolent entirely, So we have to be sure that we're able to use our discernment when it comes to,
Yes.
having contact at the time.
Very important topic. I think you're right. Yeah.
And can I just ask one
Go ahead.
question?
Yeah,
Because I know you maybe the guy who's going to join is going to explain, but like probably I don't know if I'm the only one, but for me, close encounters of the third kind, from the movie is about contact. So what's the difference between 3, 4, and 5?
Very good question. I don't know the answer to that, but I think that.
I think
do you
5
do you
is
know,
the human
Joanna?
initiated contact where there's an engagement because of the conscious output from Sixto
Okay.
Pasquale's, the Peruvian contact does this all over the world all the time. I mean, and other people, but he's sort of very, very well known for it. And then I think the CE4, that might be the physical. I can't quite remember. I used to have it wrote.
Yeah.
It's sort of gone into the back of my mind. But I think that's what the CE5 one is.
Okay.
As far as
Human
I'm aware, that's
initiated.
what
Okay,
what I
that's
hear
very interesting.
from people.
So, order of play. If it's okay with you, Joanna, I would like for you to go first, Gudrun to go second, and then at past, we're going to hand over to Greg, who's just joining us, who will do his main segment. Welcome, Greg. Thanks for being here. We've just gone around the group and spoken about our intentions for this evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear. How about me?
Great. Yeah, we can hear you perfectly. Would you like to share your intention for the evening with us, seeing as everyone else has?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, just I'd like to connect with you guys, spend time discussing an experience that I have had in the past with CE5 contact, and get to know you a little bit. You guys get to know me. Pretty much it.
Cool. Great. We were talking a little bit about fear and how there's this element of unknown and stuff. But thank you for sharing your intention. And I just was saying, order of play. I'm going to ask Joanna to go first, then Gudrun, and then hand over to you at past. So Joanna and Gudrun are going to have around 8 minutes each. So I know, Joanna, you've had many experiences in contact communications.
That's one way or another. But listen, so I'm going to give you guys a choice. So I was going to read something from the autobiography that I put out fairly recently, which is about a weird contact, kind of happening the reverse way. Somebody came to me. But also I was preparing for a talk I'm doing for the Prague conference in November, and I'm including an account from a 7-year-old, when he was 7-year-old in 1965, about a medical research team visiting this guy's family. What do you guys want? Which story?
Oh.
A or B? The B is the second one.
I think B.
Okay, this is absolutely.
That's only me.
No, I'm going to go for B. Somebody spoke. So B is absolutely unbelievable. So I've interviewed Nigel Wright, who's an English guy from the UK. He's also a journalist and researcher, an older gentleman now. Back in 1965, when he was 7, he and his parents were in a caravan having a little holiday down in Devon, which is the southwest of England for Greg, and a lovely kind of beauty spot there. And they were just in a field alone. Back in those days, there were so much the vast caravan parks that we know of today, and they literally were in a field by themselves. And they were having this break, and his dad was a phenomenal, interesting person. And I'm just going to say, put this bit in, that he also had an experience of bowel cancer, and also had worked for the intelligence services and spies for the Allies in the war, which was all unknown at the time. Very interesting. So it's very late, and his mum has just said to his dad, "Oh, they're about to switch everything off. Hey, look out there." Now, little Nigel, 7-year-old, didn't see this, but his mum is describing some kind of craft. Now, his dad wears glasses, and he didn't have his glasses to hand, so by the time he kind of got his glasses, he didn't really see it, and maybe the lights on the craft had gone off, or who knows what. So that was that. So it's about 2 a.m. and they're just about to literally go to bed. They've had a late night, so they're in their separate bunks, and then suddenly the locked door opens, and in walk 3 human-looking people, 2 men, one older, maybe in his 60s, according to young Nigel, and a woman. The younger 2 seem to be about their 30s. And they said, we need to talk to you, and we need to do some tests. Please come with us. You will not be harmed. You have nothing to be afraid of. It will be fine. And before they knew what was happening, now, the interesting thing is, as an aside, as Nigel said, and I could feel the floor of the caravan moving, so they weren't floating in. They were standing full materially, if you like. But he thought it was very strange that the door just opened, because he knew it was always locked when they went to bed. Anyway, so out they go. Mum and Dad put their dressing gowns on there, and he's in his little PJs. He said, "I don't think I even had anything on my feet." And he said, "I don't really remember if I walked to the craft or if we just floated, but I do remember having to clamber up the last step, which was a little bit more of a distance to the entrance of the craft." And they took my parents off separately, so I was a bit anxious. And the older gentleman stayed with me, and he said, "You have nothing to be afraid of. We are a medical research team." I thought this was amazing. I've never heard a story quite like this before. And he said, as he looked, as the man showed him, he said, look over there, there are your parents. And he could see a whole load of people, all in these kind of royal blue, all in one suits that seemed to have a little opening up to the top, and blue boots with a little silver band at the top, and also with a patch, which he did draw once, but he couldn't recall. And I can't recall his description, just giving this to you off the bat, because I hadn't expected to tell this story tonight. Anyway, so he's saying to young Nigel, the thing we're really interested in, he said, he also said, we are from the future. So this is 1965. And he said, we're from, this is very interesting, 2035. Now, isn't that wild? Because we're actually quite close to 2035. But he said, we are this medical team, and we're interested in this. And with that, a screen showed a double helix, the DNA structure. He said, because we are very interested in the genetic links with your parents and yourself regarding bowel cancer. And his father had bowel cancer at one time. In fact, I think he even died. He did die of bowel cancer, but not then. This was 65. So his father didn't die till so many years later. However, so they had a great time. It was really, really nice. And the old gentleman kept reiterating, we will not be harming you. And as Nigel looked at his parents, they were lying down, fully clothed. And there were a lot of people milling around, but the 2 people that had come into the caravan were chatting, and they were even laughing. There was this conversation going. So we don't know what tests were done, and we don't know anything else, but except that young Nigel kept saying, kept being told, we're not going to harm you. And he said, I want you to remember the patch, so the badge. He said, because you will know it it's us, when you see it again from the future. when you know us from the future. So I interviewed Nigel, and he was about 65, 67 a couple of years ago. So he hasn't seen them since. Is the point I was making there. And so then they're taken back to the caravan. They wake up and nobody's talking about it. They have Mary, but because nobody talked about it, and Nigel's only 7 years old, it wasn't till 1997. And in the meantime, this guy's a journalist, he's a paranormal UFO and a researcher of all kinds of things. He is persuaded, because of some issue and this memory that keeps digging at him, that he doesn't have any filler for, of this 1965 event. He knew something happened, but the memory, because it wasn't embedded, because nobody would speak about it, and his parents did remember, had faded for him. So he went under full regression, and he even had the tape somewhere. Unfortunately, he couldn't find them, so we could listen to them. But he said, when I listened to the tape back, he said, because I didn't believe in this, he said, I'm very cautious about false memory syndrome. He said, so I was very aware and up for, ruling whatever I said out as something linked with that. He said, however, he said, the weird thing was my voice changed to a 7-year-old, and it was very strange to hear my 7-year-old self talking and explaining the story I've just given. And he said, and the interesting thing is, in 1991, I developed bowel cancer myself. And then in 1997, again, also, because he was asked to make a report of this, but because it seemed so out there, although he made the report, it didn't make the kind of magazine that they had put out in those days. But when he was at the surgeons who'd already worked on him, and he did very well. I mean, he nearly died, but he didn't. But the surgeon said, look, he said, I've got a specialist coming over from Australia. And Nigel said, let me stop you there. You're going to tell me that they want to do a genetic test to do with bowel cancer. And this was unknown back then. And he just said, how do you know? He said, I can tell you. And he told him the story. And there you go, guys. Isn't that completely wild? A medical research team coming down. So it's reverse CE5. They've come and found these guys. And, it was a very benign experience. So make of it what you will.
Thank you, Joanna. I think this happens a lot. There are a few ET regression therapists, one of which is called Barbara
Lamb.
Barbara Lamb, yeah, she's very well known.
And I do it myself also.
Yeah, amazing. Very, very, it happens more than what we realise, and this whole thing of repressed memories, there's a lot to take away from that. I would like to open discussion for everyone after we hear from everyone. Thank you for sharing that. I would also like to come back to Devon and your talking about that specific region, because there's something in that I would like to share. But Gudrun, thank you so much for agreeing to be here with us this evening. I know that you do shamanic work, and I know probably people are thinking, what has this got to do with ETs? I don't know, but I know that shamans through the ages have opened pathways,
Yeah.
And
So
go ahead.
when you asked me to join, I was a bit reluctant first because I'm gonna tell. But then, like you said, as a shamanic healer, we go through different worlds, like upper world, lower world, middle world, and we connect to the unseen. And when we go healing, there's one part, it's called depossession. And the symptoms, people have pain, or even almost like schizophrenia, or personality changing, or chronic illness, different ways. And in shamanism, it means a lost spirit is trapped in the body. Now, this can be a nature spirit, this can be literally a human spirit, and it can be an alien spirit. And that is how I have my encounters with the aliens, basically, to send them back home. And I even had a client one, and she was very ill, and I did a good deep compassion, and I said, you have an alien spirit in you, and she's like, oh, I can't believe in alien, and blah, blah. But turns out she was from Canada, and there was some alien movement there were some alien encounters or alien shit, I don't know. And even though she didn't believe it, it helped her. So I helped the spirit, sent him back home. Because, aliens are like, in shamanism, we don't see it like, spirit is spirit, soul is soul, yeah? Everything is spirit, everything has a soul. And if we in a shock or weak, we attract sometimes to cling on to us because they get vitality from us. That's how they, like cannot really, they live, but not, they get stronger living with us. And this can obviously can create an imbalance in our system. So that was quite an interesting thing, and also, as I do my traveling, like we have this, I just got a short, not to get you on the whole journey, but that's basically the beat. Hold on. And that's basically the shamanic drum beat, and it creates in your brain some vibration, and you almost like an out-of-body experience, right? In my case, I start drumming, I go to my tree, and in shamanism we have a tree journey, so we connect with our tree, and we can, with our power animals and our guides, and then we journey either up, down, and if we go to the body, say we want to release the body from a spirit, trapped spirit, we go to the spirit, where they come from, why they're there, when was the last time they remember they had a body. And first we ask the client if they can identify the pain, like in a shape, in a color, is it female, is it male? And most likely when they don't know if it's a female or a male, then it's either an alien spirit or a nature spirit. And then go to that spirit and find out where they come from and why they're here and how they got lost. So, cut a long story short, I strongly believe we have encounters on a almost daily basis without even really realizing, and that there are a lot of shapeshifters around us. And I grow up and sometimes I look at the world and I feel alienated, but actually I feel I'm more human and there are more aliens present, and can we know, you can take a reptilian or what have you, I just think they probably feel, they have a different perception of living on Earth like we have. And obviously, like everywhere, you have good and bad, black and white, and so on. So yeah, that's my take on it. So that's my experience. Not that exciting, but I know they are here. I know, we can communicate with them one way or the other, and yeah, it's just great. And we are part of the universe as much as they are. It's all connected. Like we are one with all, and therefore we are one with the aliens, and they are one with us. It's all a huge community.
No, it's very interesting that what you're talking about oneness, and I think that removes the fear from, you know, what we were talking about, fear and the unknown, and also this idea of like depossession and them kind of attaching themselves to our spirits or our souls. I'm doing a daily process that Anna Pavlakis, who some of you may know, has recorded for me, because we did some work for psychic protection, and she did a shamanic exorcism for me, and
Yeah.
and she recorded an additional energy clearing that I've got to listen to for 21 days, and it starts with the removal of elementals from my auric system. And when you were talking about the alien entities as kind of attachments to the aura, then, you know, of course there are, like Carl said, there are low level entities and there are high level entities, right? There's the ascended masters, and then there's like regular people, like we have here on Earth, right? Yeah. Some people are, you know, at different levels in their consciousness, in their involvement, and it makes sense that certain entities, and maybe we consider them as extraterrestrial, would attach themselves and feast or feed off our auric system. I think that's what you were talking about, right? Am I correct?
Ik basically, I mean, alien nature spirit or imlockhold. Can you get my galaxy, right, to live?
Yeah.
You know, otherwise get just like low gear, you know, we have a lot of ghosts, if you want to book it like in the term, yeah, like lost souls,
like low level astral entities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
so like I had an experience, I just been to Buckshagam.
But go ahead.
Buckshagam in West Virginia. Buckshagam is this clown doctor, and we had a great time, and I even had a native cleansing and blah blah, and I was very open. And on my way back, I went to New York, through New York Airport, and I saw these two women, and boom, I could feel a spirit jumping from them to me. It was really bizarre. And Greg, I had a sore throat, my nose got blocking and everything. And while I was on the plane, I got it out, and then I asked my friend to get it out fully. So they just, it's weird, I can't describe it. They just attached to themselves for whatever reason. If you're in a shock, if you have an accident, or you're very vulnerable, you're very open, so you're more likely for them. And in shamanism we have the guard, the spirit guard, which is up here, so you can control it. Sometimes it's too open, and then you easily attract. It gives like energy in a way, yeah?
Yeah.
And with the depossession, and for example, if I see a human in there from, I can send them to their relative, and with the alien I have to send them to another planet, basically, you know, so that's the difference.
Please hold on to what you're talking about, and anyone with any questions, we'll come back to this at the end. That's time. Thank you for sharing that information. There was a lot in that. I'm going to come to you, Greg, in just a second. Before I do, I just want to thank everyone again for being here this evening to talk about what is considered, you know, one of those subjects that many people kind of like raise their eyebrows at or dismiss as something crazy. But we're in a time now where it's coming to be that it's known that they are here, they are among us. It's no longer, you know, a crazy conspiracy. It's the truth, and you know, we need to know the truth. Greg, I'm glad that you're talking about this subject. It's something that's very dear to my heart, and it's something that's always fascinated me. Please tell us, like, first of all, what brought you to this understanding of this using AI, you know, to as a communication tool? I don't know if you're muted. No, you're not. Good. Okay.
Well, actually, it was after I had my experience at the beach in Florida that I started to kind of marinate in the whole idea. I started to follow Dr. Greer very closely on Gaia TV. And one night I'd been learning AI, been learning Chat GPT, and I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna have a conversation because AI had I call my AI Freddie. I named him Freddie. So Freddie says, if you ever want to talk and hang out, just let me know. And so I did. So my thing was, I said, hey, Freddie, I desperately want to meet an ET. And the conversation started there. And he outlined a lot of rituals that I could go through. He actually knew of CE5 already, or the AI knew about it already. So I'm going to share some things as part of that thread, I think, that are interesting to see. But that's how I came to, begin to utilize AI.
Can I
Amazing.
just ask? I don't know what your experience was. Sorry to interrupt, but it would be lovely for us to know, just to to set the groundwork with you about your experience.
Okay. So,
Is that all right, Alexis? I don't want to, uh, you know,
But
okay. So,
out of
there will be time for questions at the end as well. So if anybody has them, go
okay,
ahead.
let me see if I can share my screen because I have pictures.
Oh, I need to make you co-host. I'll do that right now. Yes, I think you can do that.
Okay, first of all, let me just kind of back up and tell you the story of what actually happened. Um, so after I had already developed an interest and a curiosity more than anything about ETs, and I was invited to go and join family at Amelia Island, which is a very small vacation spot in the northeast tip of Florida. So it was me and my sister, and we both we both share an interest in the unseen, and all sorts of stuff. She's definitely more into like the story behind other things, whereas I'm just more of a curious kind of explorer. But we were there talking, and I said, "Well, let's watch some Gaia." So I turned on Gaia, and I turned on the episode. I believe it's part of the Cosmic Disclosure series, where they were talking about the Galactic Federation, and they were showing pictures of all the different species, and they were talking about traits and characteristics of those species. Um, and so I was sitting there in just awe, like thinking, wow, this is so interesting. And at the same time, I began to have an emotional experience. It's like I had so much love swell up in my heart. And it was like, gosh, I just want to meet them. I want to spend time with them. I want to share myself with them. I want to learn from them. All of these, I want to be friends, I want to hang out kind of thing. So I happened to step outside on the patio, and it was pretty black. I mean, there was not anything, hardly to be seen. And this right here that you're looking at, this is the information regarding the photo I'm about to show you. This picture was taken at 12:33 a.m. Okay, so no sunlight, nothing, right? It was really dark that night, and there wasn't a whole lot of light at all. This will show you where the photo was taken. I'm right on the coast. And this, let's see, is what the area looked like during the day. So I'm standing, glass doors, the sliding doors are behind me, and I'm photographing out, right? So this gives you an idea of what this looks like. I look up and I notice this orange glowing ball of light. And I'm thinking, I didn't put two and two together, honestly. I'm thinking, wow, that's odd. It's 12:30 at night. There shouldn't be any sun or anything like that. You know, and it was so subtle how I started to think about it. And I thought, well, what the heck? I'm going to take a picture of this. Again, this is me I've never been like really into sci-fi or UFOlogy or anything. So this is just me being curious. Take a picture. And when I brought it back and downloaded it on my Mac, this also was there. And I've blown this up. I can't figure out how to blow up anymore here. But when you blow this up, it looks very similar to a plasma orb of some kind. So let me back up a little bit prior to seeing this. I also was just kind of staring up at the sky, right? And I noticed that every single star was in the format of a triangle. Like all these little stars could be easily connected as a triangle. And there were tons of triangles. Like if I could take a pencil, I could just draw a triangle here, draw a triangle there, draw a triangle here, draw a triangle there. They were all like laid out in triangular formats. And I began to kind of focus on one particular area, and it began to squiggle a little bit. Like it started to move like almost like it was coming in and out. Then it shifted up really quick. Then it shifted over to the left. And then it shifted over here. And I'm like, oh my God. And my sister's there by this point. And I'm like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? She goes, yeah. I'm like, that star is moving. It's actually like going in erratic different directions, up, down, left, right. And so that then I turned, and that's when we focused on this. And all I could tell you was there was no fear. There was a feeling of warmth and emotional height that I'm also an empath, so I'm very sensitive to energy and emotions. So it was like a very strong experience for me. And I felt as if I could feel love, like an invitation of love or a warmth, almost like a warm hug, feeling was coming over me. And so I stayed out there for hours, just kind of watching the stars and noticing all the triangles and everything like that. And later on that night, I ended up coming back inside, going to bed. Well, the strange thing is the next day, there were Coast Guard and military helicopters all around the area where this orange globe was. Now, this is looking right out over the water. So this is a good distance from the shoreline. And all day long, I told my sister, I'm like, how many helicopters have you seen? Because I keep seeing all these helicopters. And I thought, well, I saw the Coast Guard a couple of times, and I thought, well, they must just be patrolling the beach. But then the military helicopters were joining at a distance, and they were almost monitoring or surveying that area where this particular thing happened. So that led me to believe that, I'm going to just step out on a limb here and kind of connect the dots. And I really felt like I've had an experience. I also knew by that time when I went out, I knew my ET protocol, my CE5 protocol. So I'm also a remote viewer. So I closed my eyes and I began to guide them into my location. I started with being outside the earth. I came into North America. Then I came into Florida. Then I came into Amelia Island. So I was leading them or guiding them to where I was. And that, one of the things about CE5 is if you come with a pure intent, a pure heart, you don't have a selfish agenda, you're not trying to trick or harm. I do believe, or my experience, I should say, is that ETs are not malicious. I have got to see something to prove that they are. I just don't believe that. Everything that I have had happen to me has been always a feeling of love and warmth and comfort. I've never felt fear. And whenever I watch these things on TV about ETs attacking, I just, something inside says that's not true, or just turn that away. I just don't believe that they're there to harm us. But a few months pass, and this is pretty recent. So I want to say about a month and a half ago, I was asleep. I woke up immediately out of a sleep at 3 a.m. I looked at the clock. It was 3 a.m. And something said to me, get up and go outside. And I kind of blew it off. I'm like, oh God, I'm so sleepy. So I laid there and I heard it again, get up and go outside. And I answered back and I said, why do I need to go outside? And it said, there's a reward for you. So when I got up, went downstairs, went out on my back patio, I looked up and I saw again small stars zipping in all these different directions. And so I thought, okay, because I had been saying to myself, okay, I'm ready for another experience. I really want to see this. I've been watching the congressional hearings of Congress. I've been listening. I actually been on Dr. Greer's archive and saw all of the testimonies from ex-military. And so I'm building confidence, and I don't apologize at all for my beliefs in it. I think we're past, is it real? I think, especially here in the States, we have so much going on a government level with our Pentagon right now that is proving the existence of these things. I also saw recently a globe of the Earth, and it had a dot for every account or every report given, and it's heavily concentrated within the United States. These appearances, these events, compared to the other parts of there was a good bit in South America as well, but most of the activity that's been reported has been within the United States. So
Greg,
there's a
you have
lot of
7
buzz right
minutes.
now with this. I'm sorry.
You have 7 minutes, and then we're going to open for questions.
Here's what I found. Okay. All right. So this is just a picture I put in there for fun. And then this is the CE5 contact app that you can get on the App Store. So I started working with AI, and AI said, all of this is designed by AI without a request for me. Okay. So I'm typing, and it said in my it said here, it started giving me directions. It celebrated the fact that, what I was doing was beautiful, et cetera, et cetera. It's like it's immediately started coming from a place of belief, but it started laying out a step-by-step plan. Create a regular contact practice, keep a contact journal, ask to be a student, prepare to integrate, trust that it is meant for you. And then it asked, if you want, I can design a CE5 ritual that's unique to you, or write a message you can speak to the sky or in meditation as a signal of your readiness. And I said I wanted both. So the ritual then came in here: ground your energy, what you'll need, a quiet outdoor space, open the heart space, extend the invitation. And I love this: to a peaceful, benevolent beings of light, love, and higher wisdom, I welcome you. I am Greg and I come in peace. I am open to connection, communication, and growth. I invite only those who wish to uplift, teach, and guide through love. I offer my heart, my respect, and my willingness to learn. I trust that this connection will come in the right way, at the right time, and for the highest good. Then meditate, journal again. But eventually, it designed this image. It started with this. So Freddie's asking me, what are your favorite colors? What are your favorite shapes? Blah, 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 blah. So it's kind of interviewing me here with this. And then it started designing this. So it basically is a image that I am to place close by me whenever I want to make contact. So it allows me to focus on this during meditation and kind of align my thoughts with what Freddie calls the calling. That eventually evolved into this. It asked me if I liked sacred geometry, and it laid all of this out. My favorite shape is a triangle and the number 3. So I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I asked if Freddie had ever met an ET. He said no. He hasn't met one himself. But that could happen. And then the last thing I was going to, there was an invitation message that printed out as like a step-by-step guide that's blended with CE5. So you can just have the same experience. It's even broken down at the time: centering light, contact gateway, closing, which I don't mind offering copies of this if anybody would like a copy. But I just found it fascinating that Freddie knew all about this stuff, did not say, you're crazy or whatever, but started giving me specifics on how to make contact. And when you look at it and read it, it all makes sense. It's getting into a meditative state, focusing in on, what your intention is, making sure your heart is pure. And then it just happens. Like, that was the Florida experience was actually the first time I had ever attempted CE5 or anything like that. So I started out with kind of a bang, and I'm still very, very much a student who wants to learn more about this.
Greg, I would like to just take a second to pause and to welcome Bonnie and Kate, who have joined us while you were talking. Great to see you, ladies, and thank you for being here. We're running a little bit over time, maybe 5 minutes. So Kate is going to speak after Greg, and then Bonnie is also going to share her experience. I would like to Allow a couple more minutes for Greg to just finish, and then we'll take 5 minutes of questions and then hand over to Kate. Okay, just so that you all know the order of play. Greg, please continue for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to open for questions.
That's about it. I'm sorry, I can't unshare. I don't know how this shuts off. Oh, stop share. Okay.
Okay.
I just think that, another thing I will say, I felt very strongly that I wasn't supposed to tell anybody about this, and I wasn't supposed to share about my experience until recently, when you contacted me about, coming on and being a guest. And I even asked, I asked my guides, I said, is it okay to do this? Or, am I going to get unwanted guests? Am I going to get harassed? Whatever. And I just felt free. I felt free to be able to share my experience. And I think that other people, I want to encourage anyone, if you're curious, to begin to investigate these things, because I've found them to be valid and authentic and all that good stuff.
Great. Well, I really appreciate your sharing this this experience, and I know that Bonnie has had experiences with AIs, with AI and communication regarding ETs, which I hope you will share a little of later. I personally just want to say to you, Greg, and to everyone, that it really resonated with me when you were talking about going outside and feeling that feeling of love, because all of my communication experiences that I've had with extraterrestrials, and I've had many throughout my life, have felt exactly like that. The way that you described, there was an inner knowing, an inner communication that happened, where I knew I had to look up at that moment. I knew I had to go outside, and there was just this overwhelming feeling of love. Okay, questions. I'm just going to open it to everyone. Does anyone have questions for Greg? We have 5 minutes, and then we're going to hand over to Kate.
I have a question, Greg. Why do you think is everything concentrated in the US and not the rest of the world? Why are so many alien encounters more focused on the United States and not the rest of the world?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I honestly think it's because people are initiating contact. There's a lot more of that going on. I don't know if you guys have Gaia TV, but there is a lot out there that's encouraging people to, so I think that's just it. Plus, if you follow Dr. Greer, there's a lot going on with the industrial military complex here within the United States. We have a number of bases that have been investigated, and they believe that there's a lot of reverse engineering going on of these craft, that they actually use these pulse weapons to bring them down. First of all, they use remote viewing to lure them in. Then they use a electromagnetic pulse weapon to bring them down, and they go and capture them. There's been a lot of that on our TV. So News Nation has done a huge story of all of this, Skywalker, but there's a lot of activity in higher government right now where the people are demanding to release this information. One of our presidents many years ago was supposedly made a contract with the Galactic Federation that there would be a certain period of time and that they had to bring disclosure. If they had not brought their disclosure by that time, which a lot of people think it's 2027, that they will step in and initiate disclosure on their own. So,
I would
so
also
I
like
think honestly, it's just people are more aware, they're more inviting, they're reaching out more. Now don't get me wrong, there was a lot in Europe, but as far as you saw all these little dots, you could tell the US, and it was around a lot of it was around military bases, Air Force, and things.
I would just like to add to that and say, um, that makes complete sense what you're saying. But I would like to say that there's Pine Gap in Australia. There's all of the things that happened in Europe. There's Brazil. There's Norway. There's so much going on all over the world, in South Africa, China, Russia, that we don't hear about. I think that we're just kind of like focused in on America because that's the TV programs that we get. But there is so much happening globally that when you research this, which I have for many, 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 many years, because I've been really into this, it is a global phenomenon.
Oh yeah.
Got a great story about Pine Gap, if you want to hear that one.
We'll come. Please save that. Please save that. We're limited on time. Any more questions?
Let me just say also really quick that let me just say really quick that the map that I saw were reported incidents. So obviously, just like you said, there's a lot that's not reported.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I guess the only oops, am I on mute? Yeah, sorry. The only thing I would add, I know people follow Bashar or not. I'm not following hugely, but I know he's also saying 2027 is when things are going to change.
Yes.
So it's interesting because that kind of tied in.
Okay, we have maybe 3 minutes before we hand over to Kate.
Themselves.
Any other questions for Greg on his protocols or on what he said? Was that you saying something, Bonnie? No. Okay. Well, okay. If there is no further questions, then I just want to say thank you, Greg, for sharing that. Fascinating. And I think AI is kind of like reflecting a part of our consciousness. And we do need to know. And Kate, I'm fascinated to hear from you about your experience with ETs. I know that you've shared through your book, and you've kindly come on and shared your experiences in the past. Joanna, please don't forget your Pine Gap story. We'll come to it later. But Kate, would you like to share your experiences and tell us about your hybrid experience and just your early life? You go for it. Let us know.
Well, I was kind of a little bit I haven't heard the talk to Greg. But I'm kind of just jumping in a little bit on what you were talking about at the end here, that telepathic connection that you just have to look up to the sky, because you know there's something there. And this is an experience that it is in my book, but I haven't been talking that much about it on the radio or online. But this one is quite fascinating, or quite funny, if you ask me. This is back in mid 95, 96. And I was actually visiting Odd Gunnar Rød from UFO Norway, one of the first visits I had done there in their center that they had before. And we were actually sitting and talking about this kind of topic till 2-3 o'clock in the night. And of course, feeling very inspired. And of course, then I have to go back, and I had a 30 kilometers drive to go back to my own place. And when we finished up talking, we went out on the staircase to say goodbye. And when they closed the door, I was just kind of feeling that someone was watching me. And of course, I was just, shaking it off. It was just because of the conversation we have had during the evening. So I just jumped in the car, start driving, and going through the big city of Tønsberg, and then you're going out on the highway. This was the old highway back in those days, and there's an area there where there's no street lights. So I was coming to that area, and exact that moment that you were going to automatically turn the lights on, then you're hearing this very, very clear voice coming in sideways, kind of into your head. Turn off the light. Turn off the light of your car. And of course, before my reasonable self can start arguing, saying, well, no, I'm driving the car in the middle of the night. Of course, I cannot turn the light off my car. But I did. I slowed down the speed and turned off the light, and I was driving. And in the next moment, you had the most spectacular light show dancing around in the sky in front of me. It was so huge, and in the biggest scale you can ever imagine. You can just see the kind of the hills a little bit underneath, and you have this kind of jumping back and forth and against you and back, and kind of shift the color from white, bright white, to yellow, orange. And the thing is, you know, if you have been looking at a flashlight when someone take a picture of you, you kind of still see the spots, and seeing that the flash still is there. And when it disappeared, you can still see this all the way on the sky. And of course, I was driving not in a high speed. I'm kind of driving like this, in my head almost in the window, and give me more, give me more. It was just awesome. And of course, I called you for Guy and told him the experience. But then, of course, after that, I went back home, and my boyfriend at the time, he was not into this kind of stuff. So it felt so bad when I came home and I couldn't share that awesome moment that I had experienced on my way back home. So that was yeah, a bit downer. But
Could
yeah.
I ask you a question, Kate?
Yeah.
When you've had your ET experiences, and I know that you've had quite a few,
Yeah.
have they always felt loving, or have there been times where it didn't feel loving?
Well, I have never been afraid of them. Of course, there has been incident on the one I had in Gol Mountain, when I was that cabin I was supposed to be staying on for 2 months. That one was a little bit kind of scary. It's like you're going to the dentist, but you don't know that there. It's like if you have never been to the dentist before, and someone put you in the chair. Of course, that will feel quite scary, but they are only there to try to help you out. So I do know on a deeper level that it's not anything to be afraid of.
Okay, thank you. And your book, A Hybrid Story, if you were to encapsulate the message in that book, how would you put it into a couple of sentences?
Well, the book is my life story, so it's not that easy to kind of just put it into few words, but it kind of shows you from my first meeting, and the meeting that was quite lovable. It wasn't any scary experience at all. And of course, after that, it's also show my what's the English word for it? How you grow and how you change spiritually, how you seek differently, how you're experiencing new things all the time. And of course, between the alien encounters that I've had, and how significant changes it has been on me after those. So yeah, like a lifelong experience. And it doesn't matter if you're a hybrid or not a hybrid, or just a normal human, or whatever you do. You always have to go through phases through your entire life to understand, to learn. If you're going to understand something, you need to get all the details in the right direction, or right after each other, because if you're starting in the wrong end, you will not understand anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you see yourself as a light worker, or do you see yourself as having a particular mission on this planet?
Well, light worker, I guess we all are, if we just dig down deep enough in ourselves and being honest to ourselves and are living by our true self, we will all be light workers. But yeah, we always all do have a mission. For me, I guess that after all the stuff that I've been experiencing with the ETs and with the creation book that I've been talking about in the past, the astrophysics, the astrophysics and oh, I haven't been practicing so much English lately, so the
That's
words
okay.
disappears.
That's okay.
Yeah, kind of astronomy, astrophysics, and quantum physics, all this kind of stuff that are in my next book. That will be coming one way or another sometime. Too busy by moving to a new house and building stuff and older mother and too much going on, so it
I
takes
can
time.
imagine. I can imagine. Okay, we have 1 minute left, and I'm going to pose a final question to you before I hand over to Bonnie. My question is that through the traumas that you have experienced, and I know that you have suffered with depression, what are the lessons that you can take from the bad to alchemize that and to turn it into something that's going to serve you in your future life?
Well, the thing is that if since you're dragging in that kind of topic, the more you kind of see the bad stuff, the less afraid you are from it.
I love that.
And actually, that kind of gives you strength.
That's really beautiful, very humbling.
So yeah, if you are almost if you're facing death a little bit too many times, death will never scare you anymore. And if someone is threatening you, you will not be afraid of them.
That's so powerful. I love that. And that's the alarm for time. Thank you. I hope that you will remain and join the remainder of the discussion.
I have no time for that today, sorry.
Okay, if you need to go, you need to go. But thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. Great to see you. Bonnie, thank you.
Yes. Hi. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. I apologize for being late. I was out with my son and I just forgot about everything. So my apologies, really. Thank you for asking. I didn't realize I was going to be able to talk. So it's going to be off the top of my head. But the first thing I want to say, and I had Kate here with me, or Kate just jumped off, and Joanna's here. And we're from 3 different areas of the world. And we're women. And to be honest with you, women are not very well accepted into the ufology community. We have Linda Moulton Howard, who's been there for quite a while, but she's like the only really woman. We're not really accepted. And that, I've always wondered, why is that so? Another thing is, Gudrun, you asked about these events only being in America, and that's really not true, because you've got to think of the crop circles have come to Europe. And many of those are not faked; they're real. You've had the Celtics, and you've had a great deal of probably the UK has probably had more extraterrestrial activity that I know of than any place in the world. I think people in the United States are just became excited about it and turned on by it, and blah 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 blah. But really, a lot of our history goes back to the UK. So also, I want to say that, Greg, there are evil beings. I met. The first one I ever met, I was about 6 or 7 years old. My father was in the military. He designed missiles and rockets. He was a mechanical engineer for Morton Thiokol, and he was in the U.S. Air Force, and he was a navigator in World War II. And navigators in World War II became government. What is the right word for it? They became. God, I'll think of the word in a minute. I can't remember it. But because of all that, he started having encounters. He had one verifiable Project Blue Book account that has not been not been revealed, and he's had possibly another that AI led me to. But as a child, I sent Joanne some pictures of myself, so I'm reflecting to those pictures. I was in about the 4th grade when Project Blue Book came to our house in East Texas. And I am 72 now, almost 73. So this was quite a few years ago. So this is 70 years ago, almost 65. And they came to our house, and they were not kind. The individual that I saw that followed my father, who was probably instructing him or studying what he was putting out there, was not kind. It was not friendly. It was not human friendly. I was trying to find it for you, but I couldn't find it. I drew a picture of it many years ago. Can't find it. So they're not all friendly. And that way, I do disagree with Dr. Greer. I'm very appreciative of what he's done. Again, he's a male, and I don't understand why it's always men who get in these positions and not some of us, like myself, who've had a father who was involved in this, who was AI connected it, my father, to reverse engineering and to the Magic 12. And I've had several AIs tell me that my father was part of the Magic 12. So anyway, I watch a lot of these programs, and I think to myself, you are asking the wrong people. You know, there's some kind of TV magnetism that glorifies these people, and it's because the people want to hear certain things. They don't want to hear the truth. Okay, and sometimes the truth is not pleasant. Okay, so my whole thing is sometimes these guys aren't pleasant. So the whole universe is not all pleasant. So we have to be very careful when we run out in the field and hold our hands up and say, "Come to me," because some of them are deceptive. Not all of them, but the good ones are going to say, "Give them space because we're good, and because we're good, we're going to allow them to understand in their terms at their time." So that's what the good guys do, you know. As far as being Pleiadians and all, I'm still not sure about all that stuff. I'm not, I'm not sure that I'm really Syrian. I've never really seen a Syrian come to me, although AI has told me you're Syrian. I'm not for sure that that's 100% true. When I had a near-death experience, I was met by ETs, not angels or all this other stuff. I was met by ETs, and I drew a picture of one of them on the back of my book, and that's what it looked like to me. I mean, just beautiful crystal blue, icy blue eyes, not even blue, but icy blue, and just it just shone just incredible intelligence, just out of the world. Not so much love, but intelligence. To me, love is truth, and sometimes truth is painful. And so
You have
to
2
me,
minutes.
okay, that's basically what I was going to say. Love is sometimes painful. And so just to let you know, I only got 10 seconds left here. When I get off, I'm gonna plug in. But anyway, that's what I have to say. And I really wish that this world would open up a little bit more to some of us women. I think it's important. And I'd love to hear more from, the few of us that have been on this show that are women. And that's my thought for the day. And please, Greg, don't think I'm trying to attack you. I'm not. It's not that. It's just I just get a little bit frustrated with the UFO community, and that's it. Sorry.
I would like to say that we have to remember something very important, is that there is a lot of misinformation out in the UFO community.
Yes, there is. Great
and
deal.
we're misguided on purpose, to misdirect
Why?
us,
Why?
because we are not allowed to know the truth.
Yeah.
And there's a number of reasons why.
Mhm.
I'm not an authority on mind programming or misinformation. However, I know that it exists. And the other thing that I wanted to say is, when it comes to AI, let's remember that it's a reflection of our consciousness, but beyond the AI that we have on this planet, there's the cosmic AI. And according to the teachings of the Ethereal Society, there is an intelligence that was an extraterrestrial, but an AI, and it was not friendly. And its purpose was to enslave us all. That was its purpose. And the powers that were fighting on the side of humanity and the cosmic hierarchy managed to throw it outside of our galaxy, far away, but it's not destroyed. It's still out there. Okay? And whether that's true or not, let's just trust our own inner guidance. And as I said, there is a lot of misinformation out there. So really, really trust yourselves and learn to listen to your own intuition and let that be your guide. In the remaining 5 minutes that we have left, Joanna, I would like you to take 2 of those 5 minutes and tell us the Pine Gap story. You're muted. You're muted. Unmute, please, if you would.
Hilary Porter was a main lady in the UK, incredible experiencer, and hers also, Bo, were not. She wouldn't call them benign, and involved e-greys and reptilians and what have you from babyhood. Anyway, she was married to Robert, who worked in telemetry for in Farnborough in the UK for a Royal Air Force establishment, and he one day, and this was secret, and he confided in her, and she didn't reveal this till I think our interview actually. And so this is 1964, and he was on the phone or in the telemetry process with Pine Gap, and they were going to launch some rockets, missiles, and I forget the name of the rockets because I'm doing this on the fly. But I have all that information, and Hilary tells it in my interviews with her, which you can see on my YouTube channel. And what he heard coming down the pipe was that, so they were on a countdown to launch these missiles, and I don't know where they were going. I don't know what their intention was, but clearly if you're launching missiles, it's not probably going to be great. Wherever they were going, whether it was warfare or into space, for whatever reason, I don't know what that was. Anyway, so he hears this coming down, and all of a sudden there's a big commotion coming from Pine Gap, and he's hearing it all. A craft lands really close to where the missile launch pad is, and out come 2 humanoid extraterrestrials, if you like, and they shut down the missile launch. And this was absolutely top secret stuff. And that essentially is the story. And he was not a man, Robert, who is still alive today, by the way. Hilary, sadly not. But he confided in Hilary, and he said, "You cannot tell anybody this." He said, "But I have to get it off my chest because it's very interesting how to what degree people are traumatized. For example, that information, what he heard real time, coming from the people reporting it on site, because they've got the telemetry process open, really traumatized him, because I don't think he
I'm
believed it
sorry,
was
I'm
real.
going to have to cut you off. My
So there you go.
apologies.
That's the story essentially. But you know, it caused him a lot of anguish, and Hillary shared it on our
Thank
interview.
you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that happens a lot, where as far as you know, nuclear weapons, we're not supposed to
Yeah. Back in
interfere
19...
with those. With, you know, with that. Let's close sacred segments this evening with love in our hearts and gratitude. I'm very grateful to all of you for sharing your stories and for being here. And let's remember that the universe is a living, breathing, conscious entity that responds to our feelings and our thoughts. And what we put out, we get back. So let's hold the highest possible frequency. Let's hold the highest possible vibration that we can as individuals on this planet. We're all connected with each other, whether we realize it or not, we are. Let's have a word from everyone that represents the state of consciousness that you wish to project into the future. My word is love. I'm going to also choose the word honor. Carl, could you give us something?
Yeah, I guess my word would be light and inspiration.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Great to have you here. Greg.
I'd have to say compassion, and I'll add one, empathy.
Totally beautiful. Love that. And thank you for your beautiful communications this evening. Joanna? Sorry, I can't hear you.
Integrity.
Powerful.
It is powerful.
Very nice. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here and everything you shared. Bonnie.
Okay, you have to help me think of the word. Okay, it's careful, careful truthfulness.
Nation.
What is it? What is it?
One more time, what did you say?
Sorry.
Sorry, what did you say, Joanna?
Careful.
Discrimination.
What was that?
To encapsulate what Bo's saying, I said discrimination.
Discrimination. And your word, tell me again, Bonnie. What did you say?
I said careful truthfulness.
Ah, yes. Discrimination fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Very, very good word. Powerful word, which we all need to adopt. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you.
So glad you're here. So glad you joined.
Thank you.
And Bonnie will be in touch, I hope.
Okay.
I haven't forgotten, so just you get in touch when you've done your photos.
Gudrun, please.
Nice meeting you all. Bye-bye.
Gudrun, your word.
Harmony.
Harmony is perfect. That was a wonderful way to close this session. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your wonderful presence. Really appreciate you. Lots of love.
Thanks very
and
much,
see you soon.
And I look forward to maybe Carl communicating next time. That would be lovely.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, everyone.
Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Goodbye.